This morning, National Public Radio broadcast, with your tax dollars, by the way, your subsidies, your money. They broadcast the sound of a woman getting an abortion at an abortion clinic. It's disturbing. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not pleasant to listen to, but you need to listen to it, actually. Joining me right now to discuss it, to react to it, and to analyze exactly what's at play here is Amber Athey. She's the Washington editor for The Spectator, good friend of the program. Amber, thanks for being here. I know this is a disturbing story, but it's one that I really wanted you to participate in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I agree. It's really important that people understand the reality of what happens during these procedures.
Yeah, and so many of us don't listen to NPR, by the way, so I want to thank Greg Price, who follows the media at all corners, television, radio, streaming. He captured this audio and put it out on social media, and let's just go right to it. And again, I want to warn you, it's not a pleasant thing to listen to, obviously. So if you're sensitive to this sort of thing, please, just move on. But let's go to the audio.
This patient is not one of the patients you heard before. She's asked that we not use her name. She's from Michigan. She already has one kid. She's having her abortion at about 11 weeks. Nearly all abortions in Michigan are before 13 weeks. And like many patients at Northland, she said I could record her procedure. We're going to hear some of that now.
So I am just going to get you set up on the table, and we're going to do that sedation medicine. Okay. I'm going to pull this out under your legs.
Most patients are partially awake during the procedures. They get IV medication for pain and anxiety. The lights are dimmed. There's soothing music. It actually feels a lot like a childbirth. The medical gown, your bare legs and stirrups, and a person next to you saying, "You can do this. Please, and just keep breathing." That's Brandy. She's one of the staffers. Her job is to monitor vital signs, but it is also to hold the patient's hand and talk her through this. Whether it's a birth or an abortion, it is often women guiding other women.
You're going to hear this machine turn on now, okay? It makes a loud noise.
Okay.
Blow it out, breathe through, blow it out. Listen to me, blow it out. If you hold your breath, it just makes it harder for you. Keep breathing.
Just keep breathing, Brandy tells her over and over. I can't, the patient says at one point when the cramps get painful. Yes, you can, Brandy tells her. You're doing it. And then within just a couple of minutes, it's over.
Take some deep breaths for me. Catch your breath.
You did it.
Thank you guys so much.
You are welcome.
I hope I didn't do too bad.
You did great. You did great. You did just fine. Yeah.
You're okay.
Okay. Where to begin, Amber? First of all, it's hard to just overlook the fact that we just listened to the murder of an innocent baby.
Exactly. I mean, when you actually attach the visual in your own head to the audio, it's sickening beyond belief. It's heartbreaking. It's hard not to cry listening to that, frankly. And to hear the joy in the voices of the people who did this after they completed the abortion is just despicable and evil. And just the reaction of both them as well as the voiceover from the NPR person who was describing what was happening, I think really makes it even worse.
Yeah, I want to get into the journalistic aspect of this in a moment, especially since you're a young woman who engages in the practice of the journalism business as well. But you're so right. At the end of it, how to put this, the young mother in question here, she was experiencing discomfort. And they said she's probably sedated, anxiety drugs, they said, through an intravenous drip. The joy and encouragement and excitement from the staff to sort of make her feel like she's accomplished something wonderful, it was diabolical.
Exactly. I mean, look, this is the sort of thing that we used to view rightfully as a great sadness, a great loss. And a lot of women who have abortions report feeling that regret of the having gone through this, of having lost their child, having killed their child. And yet in this case, they are trying to make her feel like she has done a great service, like she has overcome some great trial, rather than mourning and grieving with her.
And the reporter so casually comparing the scene as well as sort of the procedure to childbirth, the breathing heavy, the legs in stirrups, as if the two are in any way equatable, other than the fact that there's, a human baby involved.
That was journalistic malpractice, I think, to compare those two things that honestly couldn't be more at polar ends of the spectrum. You have one procedure that kills a child and one whose goal is to hopefully deliver a healthy baby. I mean, those are the two exact opposite outcomes of those procedures. And then elsewhere, she talks about the soothing music and the lights being dimmed, again, as if this is almost a ritual, as opposed to this procedure that ends in the killing of a child. Yeah,
it always strikes me whenever we talk about a botched abortion, right? When you talk about laws in place for a botched abortion means a baby lives. I think we should all acknowledge that.
Yes.
Did NPR do this? It's important to talk about the framework here. This is in Michigan, and there is a ballot initiative in Michigan right now having to do with that state's abortion laws post-Dobbs. So this is definitely advocacy. It's NPR after all. Are they trying to normalize this procedure and take the mystery away from it in some way to make it more acceptable? Because if so, Amber, I don't think it worked.
I agree. I think that's absolutely what they were doing in the beginning when she talks about how this is being done at the 11-week mark and states that most abortions in Michigan are done before the 13-week mark. She is clearly trying to state that there's nothing immoral about what's going on here. And you can tell as well that they intentionally sped up the procedure. She notes in her editorializing that it usually takes a few minutes, but we actually only heard the suctioning and this woman in extreme pain clearly for about 20 seconds. Yeah. And so they're actually trying to make this seem easier and quicker than it actually is, to minimize the depth of this, the pain involved in this, and trying to make it seem like it's, just like getting a booster shot, for example, or like getting a Band-Aid put on. Yeah,
or a tooth extracted. One other aspect of her editorial that sort of struck out to me, where she went out of her way to say that it's all women in the room, that just like in childbirth, so often it's the case, it's women helping women out. There's quite a subtext there. And as a young woman, I think you're the target for this kind of message. Your reaction to that?
It's part of that pro-abortion rhetoric that assumes that abortion is a woman's right, that it's only about the woman's body. They ignore the fact that there is a baby in that room. Yeah. And they tell men who are pro-life that they're not allowed to have an opinion on this issue. They need to sit down and shut up. And ultimately, it takes two people to make a baby. And the ignoring of half of the population that has a vested interest in childbirth as well is just another layer of the despicableness of this report.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm a little torn about this, Amber, because I think we've come a long way from safe, legal, and rare, which is what the pro-abortion lobby used to say. Now it's shout your abortion, celebrate your abortion, and in this case with NPR, it's demystify abortion. And in a weird way, I think this actually absolutely reinforces the pro-life position here. So as despicable as this is, I'm sort of grateful that NPR, as tone-deaf as they are, put it forth. And I very much appreciate you helping us with our commentary tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight.